Welcome to this explainer. You know, every single day, you're making hundreds of choices. What to wear, what to buy, who to trust. And if you're like most people, you naturally think you are in full control of those decisions, right? We all want to believe our minds are these impenetrable fortresses. But what if they aren't? What if someone else is already inside the walls, quietly pulling the levers of your everyday choices?
Seriously, look closely at your own life for just a second. Are you truly in control? Or are advertisers, corporate leaders, and maybe even your own loved ones systematically exploiting the fundamental quirks of human nature? And no, this isn't about movie villains or cheap street magic tricks.
Okay, let's dive into this. What we're exposing today is a highly calculated manipulation of the environment around you. It's an invisible system, designed to completely bypass your logic and hijack your instincts without you ever even noticing. Today, we're breaking down the 3 most dangerous psychological traps used to influence your mind, starting with how our natural desire for ease is literally used right against us.
Section 1, the illusion of free will, or choice architecture.
To understand this first, seemingly low-stakes trap, we have to acknowledge a simple, unavoidable biological truth. Humans are naturally kind of lazy. Our brains consume about 20% of our body's energy. That means they are constantly seeking out effortless, lazy shortcuts just to save power. And manipulators? They're incredibly aware of this. They don't need to hold a gun to your head or force you to make a decision. They simply act as choice architects. By modifying your environment, they ensure their preferred choice automatically becomes your path of least resistance. Your brain just takes the easiest route.
We see this everywhere, especially with the painful subscription cancellation process. Think about it. Signing up is literally a single click with an auto-renew box already conveniently checked for you. But to cancel, suddenly you have to click through 5 different hidden pages, fill out a mandatory survey, and call a hotline that's only open during the most awkward hours. This deliberate friction is engineered precisely so you just get exhausted, give up, and let the auto-renew charge your card for another month.
And this brilliantly illustrates a tactic that goes even deeper into how our choices are framed, the decoy effect. This is when a third, much less attractive option is introduced for one single reason, to make a more expensive option look like an absolute bargain. Let's look at a classic, totally relatable scenario. Imagine you're at the cinema concession stand.
Let's walk through the math here. You look up at the menu. A small popcorn is 300 rupees. A large is 700. Now, most people would just buy the small because 700 feels a bit too steep, right? But then you notice a medium size for 650 rupees. Look at that gap. Suddenly, that 700 rupee large feels like an incredible deal. You're getting so much more popcorn for just 50 extra rupees. You upgrade to the large, feeling like you totally beat the system.
But wait, what just happened? Let's drop the illusion for a second. That medium popcorn was never actually meant to be sold. It was a ghost. A highly calculated decoy designed with the sole purpose of making you spend 700 rupees instead of the 300 you originally planned to spend. You were manipulated into parting with more than double your money, all while falsely feeling like an absolute financial genius. Crazy, right?
Section 2, weaponizing your empathy and the guilt cycle.
Now we're escalating the stakes. While choice architecture takes advantage of our mental laziness, the darkest manipulation out there doesn't attack your weaknesses at all. It actually weaponizes your greatest strengths, specifically your empathy, your kindness, and your deep desire to be a good person. This relies on the law of reciprocity, which is our hardwired psychological instinct to return a favor and settle a social debt. Dark psychologists use unsolicited favors, like offering to cover a shift or buying you a coffee out of nowhere, not as genuine acts of kindness, but as highly calculated investments.
Let's trace exactly how this trap is set. Day 1, they do that uninvited favor. Then, for weeks, they just wait. It's this silent waiting period where that psychological debt accrues interest in the back of your mind. Finally, they spring the trap with a massive, deeply uncomfortable ask. Maybe it's a huge loan you can't really afford, or they're asking you to cross a serious ethical boundary.
And if you hesitate, they pull the ripcord and deliver this crushing line. After everything I did for you, this is how you treat me? Suddenly, your brain completely flips. You completely forget that their initial favor was tiny and entirely uninvited. All you feel in that moment is the agonizing weight of guilt. To escape that intense emotional discomfort, you just comply. They literally used your own morality as a weapon against you, and ultimately, you became the architect of your own entrapment.
Section 3,
the casino of the mind, or intermittent reinforcement.
This brings us to the climax of our explainer. If choice architecture gets your money, and the guilt cycle compromises your boundaries, how do cult leaders, toxic partners, and multi-billion-dollar social media apps keep people completely dependent for years? Well, they use the most powerful psychological drug in existence, intermittent reinforcement. This is the practice of delivering rewards unpredictably to create a deep, exhausting obsession rather than actual satisfaction. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it breaks down this dependency.
Let's compare two scenarios. Imagine a normal laboratory rat in a cage. Every time it presses a lever, it gets food. It's a predictable routine. The rat learns that hunger means pressing the lever, which equals food. It only presses it when it's actually hungry. But if you change to unpredictable rules, where pressing the lever sometimes gives food and sometimes gives absolutely nothing, the rat completely loses its mind. It becomes obsessed, pressing the lever frantically and continuously until it quite literally collapses from exhaustion.
Now let's map this exact laboratory cycle directly onto our own lives, like in toxic relationships or when we're endlessly scrolling social media. One day you get showers of love, attention, and validation. The next, sudden coldness, distance, and absolute silence. Your brain panics, dopamine levels plummet, and you begin this desperate chase to win back their approval. When they finally text you back or smile at you, your brain is flooded with a massive relieving dopamine wave. You're no longer reacting to the actual person. You're purely reacting to the artificial scarcity of the reward.
And that is the most terrifying realization of all. When you are caught in this cycle, you have been trained, just like that rat in the cage, to beg for scraps. It is a visceral, deeply altering psychological trap that literally rewires your behavior to serve someone else's terms.
Section 4. Breaking the spell and guarding the gates.
Okay, take a deep breath because there is a very clear way out of this. You see, dark psychology relies entirely on operating beneath your conscious awareness. Shining a spotlight on it absolutely ruins the magic trick. So the crucial point is knowing how to neutralize these traps in real time. Here is your cheat sheet. Recognize that weirdly priced medium popcorn as a ghost decoy and just choose the small you actually need. Accept uninvited favors with a simple thank you, knowing you do not owe them your soul. And when a partner pulls away just to make you chase them, notice it, break the cycle, and choose to walk away entirely.
You have to remember, you are never just some helpless victim to these systems. You are the newly armed guard of your own mental well-being. The mind truly is a fortress. But it remains a fortress only if you remember to actively guard the gates against those trying to slip inside.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to carry into your day. The next time you're faced with a daily choice, a sudden wave of guilt, or a frantic need for someone's approval, I want you to stop and ask yourself, is this really what I want? Or is it exactly what they want me to feel? Stay aware and keep your gates guarded.